Now this particular problem here, this is chapter 1, section 3, problem 15. Let's look at a problem like it. At a small four-year college, some psychology students were asked whether or not they had at least one older sibling. The table below shows the results for men and women and shows some of the totals. Complete parts A through G below so you can see some of the totals that are missing. So A, calculate the totals that are not shown, put them in the table. So looking at the totals there for missing total, yes, older siblings, the total they had older siblings would be 8 plus 52, which is right here. So I add those together and it gives me 60. Then the other question mark is that for total women, it would be 52 plus 41 and from the table, and I add them together and I get 93, and I put them into it. So now the table looks like that. And what percentage of the men had an older sibling? So looking at part B here, so yes, they had an older sibling, and it's a man. And you look at the table, men, older sibling, yes, is 8. The count is 8 over 24. So we can divide that and get our decimal form, the 3 places. We multiply it by 100%, which gives us our percent there, 33 1/3%. Put that into the table. Well, don't put that to the table. There, 33 1/3 times 100%. What percent did not have the older? So we look at of the men, no older sibling we see is 16 over 24. And so that'll be as a decimal here, 0.6666. And we multiply that by 100%, and it gives us a 66.7% there. And what they did here is they subtracted off the number that did have an older sibling, and whatever didn't, that's the percent that they subtracted off the ones that did, and whatever was left was the ones that did not have an older sibling. What percentage of the women had an older sibling? So we're looking at our totals here. The base is the women, and yes, they had an older sibling. We see that there was a total of 93 women, and 52 had an older sibling. So as a decimal is here. So we can find it by percent, multiply it by 100%, and it gives us 55.9%. What percentage of the people, so of the total people here, so the total people is 117 there, total people, had an older sibling, that is 60 there. So we're going to have 60 divided by 117, which gives me 0.513, and to convert that to a percent, we can multiply it by a percent, which gives me 51.3%. Okay, next one here, part F. What percentage of the women, of the people here with an older sibling were women? Okay, and this is F here. What percentage of the people with an older sibling? So in this case, our base is people with an older sibling, that's 60. And how many were women? 52. So a fraction of 52 over 60 parts to the whole. Give me the decimal form there, a ratio. And multiply that by a percent. Okay, you end up with 86.7%. Part G, suppose that a group of 650 women, the percentage who have an older sibling was the same as the people here. How many of the 650 women would have an older sibling? So what I did, I just set up a proportion here. So 52 is to 93. 52 women had older sibling out of the 93. Then the 650 here of women. How many would you expect to have an older sibling? You can set up a proportion here, and I cross multiply and divide it. So I said 52 times 60 divided by 93, which gives me 363. So you would expect 363 people of the 650 to have an older sibling.